Hello again, everybody, and welcome to this session titled Nutrition Preparation for Tournaments. Now in this session, it's very much geared towards highlighting the obstacles which you probably face as players when competing in tournaments. And I'm also going to provide you with some practical nutrition tips to help you overcome those obstacles and to ensure that you're well nourished and hydrated when competing. Ultimately, we want to do this so that you can showcase your talent on the stage. I've broken this session down into 3 parts for you. So we've got what to do the day before a tournament. So we call this the preparation phase. I've then got what to do during the tournament. So on the day of the tournament. So all about fueling. And then we've got the third part on what to do after the tournament, so the recovery phase. So I hope you enjoy the session and let's jump straight into it. So top tips for the day before a tournament. Number 1, get organised and control the controllables. It's really quite easy to fall into the habit of convenience and relying on different food stores or the service stations en route to the competition venue for providing you with the right foods. However, undoubtedly, these foods are not going to be the preferred option. So you might think that having a croissant or a sausage sandwich or maybe a ham and cheese panini from the train station is harmless. However, at the end of the day, these meals are going to be higher in fat, and so they're going to sit around your stomach for much longer, taking longer to digest. And essentially, they're going to slow you down on the court, which is not what you're trying to achieve. Goalball is quite explosive. You need to be up and down every 10 seconds, either defending or attacking. So that's not what you want. So my advice is always try to control the controllable as much as you can. And let other teams know that you mean business and that you're here to win. And that stems from being organised, being well prepared, and taking control. So my first tip is take your own supplies, not just for your journey, but for a full day of competition as well. Some examples of how you can start to prepare is maybe, I know Decathlon, one of the sports shops online. You can buy cooler bag rucksacks and some ice blocks, and that'll help to keep your food cold and your fluids cold during the day of a competition. I'd also recommend the day before tournaments, just spending a couple of hours prepping some meals, some snacks and the fluids that you need, just to ensure, as we say, you can be fully nourished and well hydrated on the day, and you don't have to go away thinking that what am I going to eat on the day, spending more money and not knowing whether those food options are going to be the best options for you. But I can guarantee you they won't be. It's always better to prepare your own food. Another thing is something simple as ensuring you have enough water, just in case that your travel plans get delayed. But in terms of meals, I'll get onto the type of meals you can pack shortly. Top tip number 2 would be plan for winning the tournament. So too many times do I see athletes just bringing enough food for the group stages or just for the morning period of a tournament. Undoubtedly, later in the day, that's going to lead to you spending more money at the venues and shops, and you're probably going to be tempted by things like chocolate, crisps, meal deals from supermarkets, which have got as much fat and sugar in as a McDonald's or KFC. So always plan for winning the tournament, and that's where the use of, as I say, the insulated cooler bags and ice blocks can come in to help keep your food fresh on the day and so that it doesn't go all squishy. Top tip number 3 for the day before a tournament is don't try any new foods in and around a competition, okay? Play it safe by sticking to familiar and plain foods. This is essentially just going to reduce the risk of any stomach upset that you might experience. I know it can be quite tricky when you have a tournament. I know when I was younger, it becomes a bit of a family affair and it becomes a So some examples may be a large bowl of porridge with some dried fruit and honey. It might be scrambled eggs with beans on toast. Might be overnight oats and an orange juice. Again, overnight oats are a really good portable option. If you've got to travel quite far to the venue for the competition, overnight oats, you can make them the night before, put your oats, your milk, some yogurt and fruit into a bowl or a Tupperware dish, put it in the fridge the night before, and then when you're ready in the morning, take it out and you can eat it on your journey on the way to the venue. Alternatively, you've got something that's going to sit light, like cereals with milk and a couple of slices of toast, or another portable option being something like a peanut butter and banana on a bagel. Okay. Now, what if you struggle with pre-competition nerves or excitement? I'm sure we've all been there. You get those butterflies in your stomach, you feel sick, and all of a sudden you've got no appetite when you wake up in the morning. It is very, very common. So if you do find it difficult to consume solid foods during this time, or just if you're not really a morning person and you can't really stomach anything too early, your best options are to choose, first of all, liquid options, so things like flavoured milk, yogurt drinks and fruit smoothies. Again, even better if you can make your own smoothie. Then smooth options like melon, fruit pots, so you can get little mandarin orange fruit pots. They seem to sit quite nicely for athletes. Flavoured yogurts. You can also get, I don't know if any of you have ever heard of Ambrosia, but they do small custard pots and rice pudding pots. They're perfect to take with you on the day of a tournament, but also if you haven't got the appetite in the morning and you need something quick on the go. So those are ideal. I recommend you get some of them in. And then the third thing would be choosing blander options, so things like porridge or rice cakes, which again aren't going to give you any stomach upset, but are going to ensure that you get some fuel inside of you ready for the competition and the long day ahead. Now, another top tip is drink plenty. So as soon as you wake up, the motto in the other session was start hydrated, stay hydrated. So as soon as you wake up, have a drink and start the hydration process. So 2 hours before the tournament starts, ideally you want to aim to have drank a 500 milliliter bottle of water, or if you don't like water, the diluted juice is fine as well. But allowing 2 hours before is going to give it enough time to be absorbed and so that you can go to the toilet before the competition as well. Always, always, always have a bottle of water or juice or a refillable bottle with you, and try to stay away from things like the fizzy drinks and really high sugar drinks, as these are going to cause stomach upset. They're also not great for your teeth, your pearly whites, and it's not what you want when you're going to be diving around a goalball court. So be aware of the warning signs of dehydration. So any of the physical stresses we mentioned earlier, such as dry mouth, lightheadedness, feeling hot and bothered. And if you do feel like this at all, then start the process of slowly sipping on some water or juice. Fourth tip is stick to your plan. If you've gone to the effort of meal prepping and organising your eating strategy for the day, please do yourself a favour and stick to it. Try not to be tempted by the cafes or vending machines, as the food in your cooler bag is going to be much better for your performance than those options which are going to be on site at the venue. And remembering, control the controllable and don't try anything new on the competition day. It's one day, or it might be 2 days, where performance is key, okay? And nutrition can have a huge difference on your performance, okay? So stick to your plan, trust in your plan, and you won't go far wrong. Final tip for the day of the tournament is Choosing light meals and carbohydrate snacks for short breaks in between matches. With tournaments, it's a little bit unknown. You might not necessarily know the start time of the tournament. You might not know the start time of your first match. You're going to be playing multiple matches, but that's likely to be results based. So how far you progress through the tournament is going to be uncertain. So as I spoke of before, plan for winning the tournament. Plan a full day. So that means you're going to need quite a bit of meals and snacks to help sustain your energy through the day. So things like, let's think, tomato-based pasta with some peppers and tomatoes, couscous or the microwavable rice packets. You can make them the day before and just add some chicken or tuna, with a little bit of salad, maybe some feta cheese or mozzarella. Something simple like a sandwich, a wrap or a pita, again filled with a little meat of your choice and some salad. And then, as mentioned, try and adopt a grazing approach, so a little and often approach rather than consuming big heavy meals. So what I would recommend is when you turn up to the tournament and you get your timetable, figure out when your largest break is in the day, and then that's where you want to consume your largest meal. So largest meal during the longest break of the day. Some good snacks which you might want to plan ahead and prepare to take with you. Fruit, not only is it high in carbohydrates, it's also high in your vitamins and minerals, and it's a good source of fluid. So as I say, if you are a little dehydrated, getting some fruit in is going to help increase your water intake. So high energy fruit like bananas, strawberries, melon, mango and grapes, those are all brilliant options. You might also want some dried fruit. So you don't need to eat as much dried fruit because it's higher in calories and higher in carbohydrates as it's a concentrated dried form of the fruit. So things like raisins and apricots or mango are brilliant again. You can get some mini Scotch pancakes from the supermarkets. Again, doesn't take up much room in your bags. Granola bars or fruit cereal bars, these are probably very common amongst most athletes. Really portable and perishable, so they're a great option. What else can we have? Maybe bagels, jam bagel, honey bagel, some rice cakes or crackers with jam and honey. And you can even get some bags of the pretzels or mini bags of the popcorn. So there's two brands, one called Proper Corn and the other called Metcalf's Popcorn. And they do different flavoured popcorn bags. So they're as well really good options because not only are they carbohydrates, but they contain some salt, which is going to help you retain a bit more water throughout the day whilst you're losing a lot of fluid. Okay. Now, moving on to top tips for recovery. So socialising post-tournament, so after the tournament, it's tempting to celebrate the day's performance by indulging in a big feast, going for a takeaway, going for a KFC, or going to a pub bistro and getting something like a beer-battered fish and chips or a nice big juicy burger with your friends and family afterwards. However, if you're competing again the next day, so if it's a 2-day tournament, it's probably not going to be a wise decision because these foods tend to contain a lot of fat again, and they're going to end up leaving you feeling sluggish, tired. You're going to have a poor sleep potentially, and you're not going to be fresh for the next day. So if there isn't an alternative and you are celebrating with friends and family, then again, your best option is probably an Italian or something like a Thai restaurant if there is one local. Something which can ensure that you're getting a good amount of the go foods, so carbohydrates, and grow foods, so the protein. And these types of foods are going to help you recover as quickly as possible for the next day. The second tip is, you might have remembered from the nutrition session, I spoke about the 3 R's of recovery. So you've got rehydrate, refuel, and repair. So as soon as possible, within the first 30 minutes after you finish the tournament, you want to consume something like a flavoured milk. Now, this is going to provide you with a complete immediate recovery. It's not only a nice sweet treat, but it's great for rehydrating, refueling, and repairing your muscles. It contains the electrolytes, it's a fluid, contains carbohydrates naturally from the milk sugars, lactose, and it's rich in protein as well. So it's a really good complete recovery option. Doesn't really matter which flavour. The research is in the chocolate flavour, but you can go for the strawberry or banana or toffee or whatever your preference is. That would be my preferred option for you straight after a tournament. Other suitable options might be a sports drink that you can buy from the shop, or you can make your own homemade sports drink. All you do is simply get some diluted fruit juice like orange juice, top it up with water and add a little pinch of salt to it, and then you've got your own homemade sports drink as well. Prefer the milk, as I say, because you get the protein from it as well, not just the carbohydrates from the sports drink. And also it's quite, if you want to look after your teeth, is what I'm trying to get at, then I'd choose the milk-based option rather than the sports drink. Yeah. Another option might just be water, or again, if you don't like the water, just the juice. But if you are just having water, you probably need something salty to go alongside it. So it might be that you have a bottle of water alongside a sandwich or a wrap or some fruit or a bag of the pretzels, as we mentioned earlier, just to help retain some of that water. If we don't get some salts in afterwards, then what you're going to do is you'll end up drinking lots and lots of water and you'll just end up weeing it out because you won't have enough salt or sodium to retain the water within your cells. Now, that's the immediate recovery. So you want to try and aim for the flavoured milk or the sports drink or water and some food within the first 30 minutes after the competition. We know that recovery is 3 times faster if you consume something within the first 2 hours after. So my advice is, as soon as you changed and you've got your bags together, first 30 minutes, get yourself a flavoured milk, and then within 2 hours after, you want to consume another meal containing both carbohydrates and protein. So something like a stir fry, tomato-based pasta dish, maybe a chili con carne, tuna pasta bake, fajitas, maybe a spaghetti bolognese, and so on and so on. And it's really important to remember to continue to hydrate with the water, sipping little and often through the night. Now, without going into your own personalised individual fueling and recovery plans, these options that I've provided are going to set a really good foundation for both fueling and recovery on tournament days. So just to summarise, number 1, control the controllable. So where possible, pack your own food and fluids. I've provided you with some options which you can make in this session, so just go back and remind yourselves of them. Don't try anything new on the day of the competition. It's really important. We don't want to get any stomach upset on the day of competition. Avoid spicy, high fat and gassy food that's just going to make you sluggish on the court. Remember, you want to be as explosive as possible on that court. If you suffer with pre-competition nerves and excitement, it's a good idea to choose liquid-based options or smooth and bland food options. So something like the flavoured milk, a smoothie, porridge, rice cakes, melon, any smooth fruit, which is going to help just to get that fueling ready for the competition. Stick to your plan. Try not to be tempted by the cafes, shops and service stations to provide you food. It's not going to be as nutritious. It'll be higher in fat and higher in sugar than what you've prepared yourself. So be proud of what you've prepared and stick to it, and try not to give in to any peer pressure on the day of a tournament. And then most importantly, follow these steps, take on bits of this advice, and ultimately, as I said at the start, to showcase your talent on the day. That's what tournaments are for, that's what matches are for. So just go out there and enjoy yourselves. Thanks for listening. Hope you've enjoyed the session. If anyone's got any questions, then just get in touch. Cheers all.